Mayuri Watani, Toni Storm, one-on-one against one another. Storm wins! What a match! Shayna Baszler hitting the ring! Assaulting Storm to close out this episode of NXT. The Queen of Spades stands tall. Hello and welcome Universe Mode. This is NXT. And well, it was a pretty interesting evening last week. Some very good matches, a great main event, but a main event spoiled by what we saw happening after it in regards to Toni Storm and Shayna Baszler. Tonight, though, I think we're in for another cracker of a main event between two incredible talents. Once again, Jay Lethal and Tomohiro Ishii will square off one-on-one in the main event of this evening. That is one that I'm excited for, especially with the talent that those two men have when they step foot in this ring. That is to come here tonight, but we kick off the evening with the NXT Tag Team Champions in action. What more could you ask for? As the duo of Gran Metalik and Kalisto El Orgullo de Lucha take on the broken brilliance that is Pentagon Jr. and Matt Hardy. As we prepare to commence this episode of NXT, we got quite a few things going on here tonight. We'll have Toni Storm's response to the assault from Shayna Baszler last week. We've got that main event coming up. I don't think we've got any new talents debuting this week, so I think there's a little bit of calm and serenity from NXT as compared to what we've seen these last 2 weeks. But nevertheless, no, we do have one. Never mind, we have one later on. But she's thingying down from the main roster, so that's going to be good. Io Shirai in action later on this evening. That just reminded me of that. Nevertheless, here comes Pentagon Jr. towards the ring. First time we've seen this duo, I believe, since NXT TakeOver New Orleans, where they beat Sanity for what is currently the last time. Holding on to the NXT Tag Team titles, walking out with the belt still around their waist, and Sanity, of course, as we saw this week, moving up to the main roster. With that being said, it is a very interesting scenario now for the tag team champions. Where do they find themselves? What are they going to do around here? Who are they going to face next? What is the plan for these guys going on? There are a lot of tag teams in the division right now, but who is going to be next in line for a shot at the tag team champions? Is anyone even on the level of the tag team champions would be a better question to ask, because the reality is Pentagon Jr. and Matt Hardy, they toppled Sanity with ease, and then they retained against them with ease as well. And Sanity, for the better part of almost a year, were the head force of the tag team division. And all of a sudden, these two men who formed out of the blue come along and are just like, no, this is our division now. And it is their division. And right now, I don't know if there's a team out there that plans on stopping them. We'll see tonight, though, with El Orgullo de Lucha. Great opportunity for Kalisto and Gran Metalik, but there are, of course, still a lot of teams in this division who might want to try and give them a run for their money. The New Foundation maybe could be one. Stone Cold Steve Austin's merry band of happy men in No Way Jose and Juice Robinson. And, of course, the team that we saw making its debut last week in the Usos could be another one. The Street Profits, if they're able to develop enough, there is quite a bit that could go on in regards to the NXT Tag Team titles, and who could challenge them. But as for right now, I don't know if there's a team out there that can take these straps away from Pentagon Jr. Matt Hardy. I think they have just gone into the heyday of their reign. I think they have just got into the peak part of it. I think they've just got... This is a team that kind of like I said, they just kind of formed out of the blue. They were both really struggling. They were both... I don't think we had seen Matt Hardy in about 5 or 6 months before he showed up out of the blue. Pentagon Jr. had been on a losing streak for the better part of 7 months, I think, before Hardy showed up. And then all of a sudden, after Hardy did his thing, whatever that involved, going to the multiverse, Pentagon Jr. was suddenly reborn again and back to the form that we once knew him at. Back to the Pentagon Jr. who goes around and breaks people in half for fun. we could see that here tonight. Kalisto and Grand Metalik, of course, don't just, don't just knock them off as just another team. Despite what I've said about the tag team champions, it really is an open playing field for every other team to have a crack at them, meaning that we could be in for an interesting matchup for Kalisto and Grand Metalik, who know they're going to have to give it an awful lot if they want to walk out with the titles. Hardy and Pentagon Jr. though, oh, super kick, fear factor, right away. My goodness, not being nice on Kalisto in the early goings of this matchup here. Hardy and Pentagon Jr. coming out of the gates with an awful lot of offense. Irish whip in the turnbuckle we go now. Oh, no, counter. Tag made again. In comes Hardy. In comes Pentagon Jr. now. Look out. Poetry in motion. Taken from the Hardy boys. And a Canadian Destroyer follows up there by Pentagon Jr. This is what I was on about. Pentagon Jr. just breaking people in his own vision. And the crowd trying to cheer on Kalisto a little bit here. You can hear the Lucha chants. Kalisto in with a counter. Step of Enziguri. Now's the chance to make the tag into Grand Metalik, which is exactly what Kalisto is looking to do. Smart idea there. Tag is made. In comes Metalik now. Irish whip off the rope. Pop a power bomb from Pentagon Jr. Metalik, though, too fresh to be put away that quickly. But Pentagon Jr. trying to just completely control Grand Metalik here. Lifts him up right away after that super kick. Sending him in. Nope, back elbow there. Pentagon Jr. all over, and this match falling apart a little bit. Hardy getting into the ring there, knocking out Kalisto. Kalisto knocked to the apron. And in that time, look at this now. Suplex transitions into an armbar. Pentagon Jr. might be looking to put things away. Wait a minute. Has the arm trapped in. Oh no, I know what he's going to go for. Pentagon Jr. snapping the arm back. And the microphones at ringside did not pick up the bang that you could hear from what could have been Grand Metalik's shoulder popping out of socket. Cover made after it. Hardy in again. Kalisto goes down once more, and the tag team champions have won it. Grand Metalik didn't get a moment to breathe in that match because the moment he tried, he was destroyed. His arm could have just been popped right out of socket. Maybe they'll just have to pop it back in and everything will be fine. But a dangerous move by Pentagon Jr. to secure a victory for the tag team champions. Broken Brilliance continuing on their tenure as tag team champions however they see fit. But the reality is, even with moves like that, the crowd like them. And so do I. Good way to kick things off here in NXT. But coming up next, it's going to be a very interesting occasion. For the first time in 5 months, I want to say something like that. It's not this guy. It's the guy coming out after this. But this is actually a return match from the man who we're seeing coming in action up next. Best way to... Alright, now I can explain now that Big E has stopped shouting his face off. So, yeah, it's been about 5 months, I think, since we last saw Michael Bennett, or Mike Kanellis, I think that's what he's going by. And he's coming back into action here tonight for the first time in a while. But the reality is that 5 or 6 months ago, whenever it was Kanellis who was put on the injury shelf, courtesy of Big E. Now, I know he hasn't been out for the entire 5 months. To my knowledge, he's been training. He's been adapting his play style, been trying to become a better wrestler, which is weird to say about a 235-day reigning ECW champion, but that's exactly what he's doing, what he's been doing, and Kanellis now back maybe with a meaner edge to him than what we saw when he left, and he's taking on the very man who was his last match before he went away with the injury, before he went away to find this new edge to him. And we'll see if all of that will work out here tonight as Big E now stands in the ring. No Xavier Woods by his side. And the return of a very old theme for this man. Mike Kanellis is back on NXT with his wife, Maria Kanellis. And the theme that accompanied him to the ring during the New World Order during his 235-day reign as ECW champion, returns. And that is a very interesting... Just those little things are interesting, just to hear that. This is the theme that almost is a callback to the success of Mike Kanellis. A callback to everything that made him great. To everything that made him a star in this universe. You know, he still has the record as the third longest reigning world champion in the history of this universe. Now, I believe the fourth longest reign in this universe as a whole. Third, I believe, being Rosemary as the Raw Women's Champion. But Mike Kanellis definitely... like, I know it may not seem like much, but I can guarantee that theme is that theme may guarantee a mean streak to this man being back. And I know the attire may say otherwise, and I know the entrance may say otherwise, but it could just all be a tale of two faces, you know. Comes to the ring, happy-go-lucky, well, not happy-go-lucky, but completely infatuated by his wife, and in some ways can't blame him. But now when the bell rings, what happens with Kanellis? What do we see from him here? Neck breaker from Mike Kanellis there, and he's ready to go to work right away. Look at this, clubbing away on Big E in the early phase this year. He remembers what Big E did. Xavier Woods was put up by Brian Cage, and so Big E, in response to show that he wanted a piece of Brian Cage, took out Mike Kanellis, and now he's starting to pay for a little bit. But this Kanellis just sitting him up here and just kicking him back down. No remorse showing. For Mike Kanellis in the early phases here, discus punch. Kanellis unloading away there on Big in the opening stages and sending him to the outside. Both these guys former ECW champions. Look at the aggression now that we're seeing from Kanellis, but Big E sending him back into the ring, finally getting in some offense in this one. Big E finally looking to fight back here. Backbreaker maybe incoming. Oh, yes, it is. Hangs on to Kanellis as well and hits another one on him. Kanellis striking, getting struck big right now. Came out of the gates, looking pretty hot, but almost trying to get defused. Will have his flame put out rather by Big E. Good neck breaker though. Cover made, early kick out. This though, there is definitely a more aggressive side to Mike Kanellis right now that we're seeing here, just constantly striking away at Big E as well. Not a lot of grappling in this, but a lot of hitting, a lot of punching, a lot of aggression to get out from Kanellis. It's been months since we last saw him in the ring, and even then he was far, far from the man that we once knew him as. From the champion that we once knew him as. And right now he is just decimating. He is controlling this match. Another cover on Big E and another kick out. Big E having to roll out of the ring there, getting back in, trying to retake control here. You can see Big E is struggling to get his offense in, but he's going to try here. Hits the corner and throws him across the ring there with a big belly-to-belly suplex. Could be Big E's opening back into this matchup here. Oh, huge chop in the chest. Super kick though. You could hear the thump of it from Kanellis. Super kick on Big E. Almost put him away. Kick out at 2. This has been all about Mike Kanellis so far. Big E's offense limited. And now Kanellis are going to put him away with the roll of the dice. A new move to the arsenal, and it brings victory. Mike Kanellis returning with a mean streak to him and returning with a victory. The former ECW champion, the former Mr. Money in the Bank, does as he pleases and walks out with a big, big win upon his return. There he is. There is your winner. His wife happy with it. And maybe this could be the start of a reformation of Mike Kanellis. A reformation back to the top for the former ECW champion. Whether or not that'll happen, there is plenty of time to find out. But as for right now, we have Toni Storm coming out up next to respond to Shayna Baszler's attack on her to close out last week's episode of NXT. This one should be a bit interesting. Storm in the ring, ready to respond to what was done by Shayna Baszler physically last week. You saw it at the top of the show, and of course if you watched last week's program you saw it as well. And she's explaining it there. Instead of celebrating a win over a great opponent like Io Shirai was, that didn't happen. She was blindsided. She was choked out as the show went off the air. But she is here tonight, standing in front of everyone in this ring, but not standing in front of Shayna Baszler, as she puts it. And that is because Shayna Baszler is at home watching this, but she knows she's going to listen to it. Toni Storm has a challenge for Shayna Baszler to fight whenever, wherever. Settle things like the fight as they are, not jumping her from behind, but instead punch Toni Storm in her face. Storm not wasting any time at all, challenging Shayna Baszler to a match. Storm wants revenge, and she's not going to get her hands on it by any means. Toni Storm challenges Shayna Baszler. That should be an interesting one. Whether or not she'll accept is a completely different ball game. But Toni Storm not going to lay down on her back and just let Shayna Baszler get one over on her. Toni Storm wants revenge. We'll see if that'll happen or not. We'll see if we'll have a response from Shayna Baszler next week or down the line. But coming up next, this one going to be promising to be a pretty interesting contest. Jeff Cobb to go one-on-one against Elias here. I'm looking forward to this one. Cobb, of course, has been on a mean streak since his arrival to NXT. You look at the NXT champion right now. You look at Brian Cage, and you look and you think, all right, Tyler Bate couldn't beat this guy, and Bate has beaten everyone there was to beat on NXT. So if that's the case, who do we dare try and have beat Brian Cage? Maybe Jeff Cobb is number one. Ishii could be another. I honestly think Jay Lethal's up there. I think those guys off the top. And then you look at somebody, maybe you look at a new debutant. Maybe you look at Brody King, for example. There are a few people who could shove in the way of Brian Cage. It's just a question of, would they stop Brian Cage? Really, would they stop them? I don't know. Nevertheless, we might not even be talking about Jeff Cobb and Brian Cage. We could be talking about Elias and Brian Cage for all we know. Elias, of course, don't gloss him over. But this is a huge opportunity for him as well. I know he was pinned in the triple threat match at TakeOver New Orleans by Lio Rush, but that doesn't change the fact that Elias still has some promise here on this brand. He has certainly been making a name for himself over the last few months, especially with that title challenge, of course, that he's had heading into TakeOver New Orleans. So yeah, Elias definitely, you know, he's got a good look to him, and he's got something different about him, that being with his guitar and just the way he looks. But I think he's definitely been improving in his in-ring talent week in, week out, and that's something that he could be proud of. But I think it's going to be a bit tough to get the victory that he wants here over Jeff Cobb. Cobb ready and raring to go. Elias might well be the same. Look at this by Cobb, coming out of the gate swinging, and Elias taken off his feet and a bit staggered by it. Here goes Jeff Cobb now. Never mind, stopped there by Elias quickly. Running knee takes him down. Elias going to have to use Cobb's strength against him. Really going to, I would say, use speed, but even that might be tough because Cobb is a very quick and agile talent. We've seen it before in the past. Great strength from Elias there, though, to lift Cobb up in the air and hit that lifting arm drag. We'll find this carry reversal there, though, by Jeff Cobb, just getting things you know, a little bit of a feeling out process. Here goes Cobb now, doing as he pleases. Gorilla press slam into a moonsault. Freakish agility from Jeff Cobb, and he made it look easy as well, the former Olympian. Oh, but look at that! Elias returning the favor with a gorilla press slam of his own. Absolutely phenomenal strength from Elias there to lift up the 270, 280 pounder that is Jeff Cobb and slam him into the mat. Cover made, but it only gets one. Elias, though, has Cobb down and sees a chance to take control here, sees a chance to take charge, stomping away on the palm of Cobb's hand now. Agonizing move. Chinlock applied here, sitching it in deep. But Cobb getting out of it just as quickly as well. You can see how tough this is for Elias, in all fairness, because Cobb is just being a very tough opponent. Try and get one over here. Every time you think you have him down, he gets right back up to his feet and pulls out something like that throwaway power bomb. Big time Uranagi counter at the turnbuckle, though, by Elias. Big time reversal, though, by Cobb. These two guys, it's like they've read up on each other. They've got a lot of counters for one another. Forearm in the face here. Sidewalk slam as well. Uh-oh. Cobb could be getting dangerous, though. Electric chair into a German suplex. Elias folded inside and out there as a result of it. Forearm in the face. Elias had the arm only briefly, though, but got countered, and Cobb just running into Elias was too much. Elias goes down, and now the strength of Cobb can be illustrated. Deadlift gut wrench suplex. He hangs on. Cobb hangs on to hit another. And maybe just one more. He got all of them. 3 deadlift gut wrench suplexes from Cobb. But Elias is still able to counter him somehow. Went for a headbutt there, couldn't get it. And again, Elias comes back in. Huge gorilla press slam from Elias. Look at this now. Very entertaining back and forth match so far. Elias, lovely elbow drop. Precise, clean. Got absolutely all of that one on Cobb. And the best part about it was he didn't waste his time. Elias could be in here, could be looking for victory, could be looking to make Cobb drift away. Not happening. Oh, Cobb just socked him. Cobb just socked him there. Running uppercut in the corner. And Elias in big trouble all of a sudden. Nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to. Tour of the Islands connects. Cobb covers Elias. And victory for Jeff Cobb. That was an entertaining match. I was enjoying that one. Them two were just throwing bombs at one another until the other one went down. It was a test of strength, a test of basically who could hang on in there the longest. And the answer was Jeff Cobb. Cobb, your winner. And we were supposed to move on to our next match of the evening, but as Cobb goes up the ramp, Bret the Hitman Hart storms his way down it. And Bret Hart takes a microphone in his hand here, the Hitman, with something to say. I wonder what this is all about. Bret the Hitman Hart actually saying that he's come out here not to brag about the group that he believes will be the next NXT Tag Team Champions, but to give out a challenge to the man whose face he is sick and tired of seeing at ringside and alongside his team. He is calling out Stone Cold Steve Austin to the ring right now. And, well, you don't need a second invitation for the Rattlesnake. And we await the arrival now of there he is. Yep, that didn't take too long. Stone Cold coming towards the ring here. These two legends, 2 former world champions, 2 retired athletes, looking to get one over on one another maybe. Stone Cold quick to get the microphone and quick to start getting in the face of Bret the Hitman Hart right away, calling him a whining, moaning son of a bitch. Stone Cold saying that Bret the Hitman Hart has his attention. So what the hell does he want? Does Bret the Hitman Hart want an arse whooping? They might both be retired, but Stone Cold is more than happy to open up a can of whoop ass on Bret the Hitman Hart right now. Some things just never die, do they? And Stone Cold's hatred for Bret the Hitman Hart, that seems to be one of them. Bret Hart saying that he's not here to fight Stone Cold, even though he could take him if he wanted to. He's here to bring an end to the annoyance of seeing his face and his joke of a tag team coming out here every week. He is annoyed at seeing his face every time he comes into the wreck of an arena that he believes is the Hammerstein Ballroom. He wants to settle this between these two men. He is here to challenge his tag team of No Way Jose and Juice Robinson 2 weeks from now against the New Foundation. His happy-go-lucky idiots, as he calls them, to go against the next tag team champions. He wants them in a tag team match 2 weeks from now to try and show up Stone Cold Steve Austin, I would believe. And it's Austin saying that he could have just got to the point quicker instead of going on and on. If he wants a match, all he had to do was ask, because he has got one. 2 weeks from now, they're on. They will settle this. Stone Cold will watch his guys stun the New Foundation and get a win. He'll watch Jose and Robinson get a win over them in 2 weeks' time, but he might not even wait 2 weeks to see someone getting stunned. Another threat being sent away. Oh, Bret the Hitman Hart! It's more than just a threat! Huge clothesline from Austin, and the fight breaks out to the outside pretty damn quickly. Austin and Bret now. Two legends brawling away at one another. Austin sending Bret the Hitman Hart into a barricade. 2 weeks from now, New Foundation against No Way Jose and Juice Robinson. But my goodness, did things get physical in the blink of an eye? Stone Cold Steve Austin, ever the aggressor. Will he pay for it in 2 weeks, I wonder? We'll find out then. But as for right now, our next contest of the evening coming about. AJ Lee to go one-on-one against Io Shirai. AJ Lee coming out for Monday Night Raw and immediately getting a huge chance here as she goes one-on-one against the NXT Women's Champion. Is this the first time we've seen Shirai in action since winning that belt? I believe it is it not? Yeah, it is. Because we had the one episode in New Orleans, we had last week's episode, and now we've got tonight's episode. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to see. I think she's the first new champion from TakeOver New Orleans that we're seeing. Haven't seen Brian Cage since New Orleans about a month ago. So there we go, AJ Lee standing in the ring awaiting the arrival of her opponent, the arrival of the new NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai. Did an incredible job to take that title away from Tessa Blanchard to take over New Orleans. She fought as hard as she could. She hung on in there as long as she could. And she celebrated a win, not only for herself, but for every woman on NXT who had to go through, who had to endure Trifecta's reign on that division for the better part of 10 months. Io Shirai brought it to an end, and of course we've already seen where Blanchard and Gabbett have gone. They're up on Monday Night Raw. Interestingly enough, Rhea Ripley has stayed down on NXT, so Trifecta do still have some element of what's what I'm looking for? Some element of a standing on this roster. Nevertheless, this match gets underway. It's not about Trifecta right now. It is about the new NXT Women's Champion, and it's about a potential new challenger to her throne in AJ Lee. Nice back suplex there from AJ Lee as this one gets underway now. Excited to see what way this one could go. Excited to see what these two women can offer one another. Handspring, back elbow there by Shirai. Right out of the gates on AJ Lee. AJ Lee, of course, has fought some of the very best, the likes of Rosemary, Asuka. Two of the most dominant champions we've seen in recent memory. Well, Rosemary being the most dominant and the longest reigning women's champion in the history of this universe as well. Working over the arm right there is AJ Lee right now. Yanking on it, and oh, driving it into the mat there. AJ Lee trying to work over the arm, trying to just ground Io Shirai here. And you gotta remember is that AJ Lee, you know, she's not had the best luck in a long time on Monday Night Raw either. So this is definitely a match where she has to find her footing again, where she has to remember, where she has to get back into the groove of what works and what doesn't. And that definitely is a matter that is easier said than done. It's not as if you can just pull it out of the bag and just become, you know, you can't just find your groove right away. I'd even argue that Mike Kanellis earlier on tonight didn't find his groove right away. It took him probably a little longer than he would have liked to put away Big E. Big clothesline there, though, by AJ Lee. Oh! Kick right in the head from the new NXT Women's Champion. Good back and forth, just like Cobb and Elias we're seeing here. Back and forth from these two women. Neither one letting the other take control in this matchup. Good strength from AJ Lee. Shining Wizard knocks her down. AJ Lee hit big, but Io Shirai will look to hit bigger and plant her into the mat. Job done there. Io Shirai covering AJ Lee. Now, will it result in victory? Oh, too early to put away AJ Lee there. Very early kick out from AJ Lee there at the count of one. But Shirai stays on the money. Snap German suplex. Folded inside out there essentially was AJ, and out to the top rope. Here goes Io Shirai. Looking to finish things already with that moonsault. Puts her in position. Oh, too early. Too early in the match. It also took too long to get away with it. AJ Lee with a counter and an opportunity right now. Finds herself in position. Shining Wizard in the face again. AJ Lee flipping herself round. Here we go. Black Widow. Black Widow is stitched in. A Black Widow submission hold for AJ Lee to get a big win in her first match on NXT. Can it happen? It's not looking like it. Both these women, though, trading blows with one another right now. Io Shirai fights out of the Black Widow. AJ Lee countered the moonsault. Good roll-up attempt there by Shirai, but AJ Lee just too tangled up in the ropes. AJ Lee looked like she was going for a spinning kick there, and Shirai stopped her in her tracks. Good work from the champ. This is what makes Io Shirai so dangerous. You think you've got it over on her. You think you've got one over on her, and the next thing you know, you're the one getting planted into the mat like AJ Lee just did for the second time. Lifts her up to her feet here. Good counter from AJ Lee. Chance is still alive for a big win. But that opportunity is fading the longer she lets Io Shirai fight back in this one. The longer she lets Io Shirai get some moves that could change the course of this match. Another counter from Shirai. They kicked her right in the gut. Once again, another kick in the gut from Shirai. Double underhook. Face buster. Might that be enough for victory here on AJ Lee? Oh, she got close. Implant buster from Shirai. Not enough yet. But Shirai sees a move that could end it. Looking for a win in her first match as champion. Straight jacket. German suplex. Beautiful bridge. Beautiful cover. And a beautiful win for the NXT Women's Champion. Io Shirai has done it. AJ Lee learned the hard way what it's like to face the NXT Women's Champion. She couldn't get out of the starting gate. She couldn't stop Shirai from hitting move after move, and she could not prevent her in the end from getting the win. Io Shirai, your winner, and a great show of respect between these two women as well, as we now prepare and we now strap ourselves in for the main event of the evening. Oh, slugs are going to be throwing. Slug shots. Hard shots. any kind of shot that can be thrown will be thrown. Jay Lethal and Tomohiro Ishii are by no means two guys who don't like each other or two guys who disrespect each other. They are just two guys who just want to win. That is all they want, is a win. And they will beat the other one up until they get, if they can get that win. They quite happily will do that. Lethal, of course, we saw on the road to, the road coming out of, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. We saw him getting the win over EC3 in what was a very entertaining match. But now he returns to have a crack at Tomohiro Ishii. I talked about how these two guys could be the ones to give Brian Cage a crack at the NXT Championship. I picked Cobb and Ishii because they're just like Cage. Big horses. Mountains of a man. Jay Lethal, on the other hand, in many ways could be like a Tyler Bate. You know, he's got that technical savvy to him. He's got a great wrestling ability with him. He is an incredibly tuned in-ring athlete. I've said this so many times about Lethal, and I think all of a sudden, you know, again, these main event opportunities that he's getting on NXT, it might very well wake up Lethal. It might very well wake him up and have us see a new edge to Lethal, or an edge rather that he once had and he's trying to claim back. Meanwhile, this guy, well, he's always had the same edge to him. Stone Pitbull never fades from being the man that he always is, the guy who will just get in your face and forearm you until you go down. Ishii is living proof that you don't need a neck in order to live, and he is also living proof that you can take 100 forearms in your face one night, get up the next morning and act like they weren't even there. Act like you weren't even hit by any of them. Ishii is one tough bastard, and we're going to be seeing him giving Jay Lethal a run for his money here in what promises to be a thrilling match between these two guys. Good main event here by NXT, no doubt about it. With everything, of course, that we've seen this week, from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown Live to the chaos that was ECW. Again, to end the week, well, not really end the week, but end the normal week of shows, shall we say, with a great match like this one. Just makes you happy that NXT exists. I don't even know what that was by Ishii. Torture rack, fuck off. That's what I'm going to call it. Just threw him off his shoulders like you... That's just Ishii for you, to be fair. Let's see what Lethal's going to do here. Look at this. Ishii thrown to the outside. Sorry, by Lethal. Jay Lethal, as we zoom in on the ring pole there, preparing himself early on. Suicide dive into the barricade. Crowd responding in the right manner to that from Lethal, but it's Ishii who throws him back in the ring. And is there much of a surprise? Ishii doing whatever he damn well pleases. Here goes the Stone Pitbull right now. Irish whip, ducks under Lethal. Oh my god. Uses Lethal own momentum against him to lariat his face off. Did he just bite his fingers? I think he did. Cover made by Lethal now. Sorry, by Ishii. Kick out at one there by Lethal. I know he's the Stone Pitbull, but I didn't realize he was actually going to take matters into his hands like a real Pitbull. Kicking the leg there by Ishii. What a forearm. Just tackles him down. Not even a spear. Tackles him. It's the strength of Ishii for you. Might well be a small guy, but by God is he a tough guy. Cover made by Ishii now. Kick out at the count of one there by Lethal. Ishii looks for a big chop. Great block by Lethal, though. He saw it incoming and responds on Ishii with a flurry. Quick combination of strikes. Then he takes Lethal down to one knee. Look for maybe a snap me, maybe a cutter. Gets countered. Gut wrench suplex from Lethal. Forearms. Here we go. In comes the shots and the strikes. Oh! Running shoulder tackle into the back. And a Samoan drop follows up after it as well. Ishii following up on the back right now. for a kick in the chest. There gets countered. Good work. Dragon screw. These two guys trading blows with one another right now. Suplex. Just pinpoint precise and beautiful from Jay Lethal there. Forearm in the face. Lethal looking to try and capitalize, but instead Ishii counters him and tackles him back down. I think that tackle is just a good part of Ishii's offense. Discus forearm might well even be a better part. Up on the shoulders. Reversal. Lethal trying to capitalize here. Both men trying to get the big win over the other, and they are just stopping one another in their tracks right now. Both men have hit big. Both men planting one another into the mat on more than one occasion. Lethal into the cover. Gets two. Always kind of baffles me that Lethal never really goes for the full lethal combination on that one. Doesn't go for the backbreaker before he plants him into the mat. It's a devastating move, but so too is this. Ishii thinking brainbuster. Incredible ring awareness there. Lethal wasn't even looking at him, but was able to counter the boot just in time. Insecure to the arm, tackled him down, and Lethal trying to create separation. Rolling out of the ring, trying to catch his breath here. Both guys trading with one another right now. Look at this. Look at this by Lethal on the outside. Into a cutter. Onto the thin padding. Onto the thin mat on the outside. Thing of beauty there from Lethal. Neck breaker as well. This is all helping to set up for that lethal combination. Ishii, I think, just grazed the steps there. Back in the ring we go now. Oh, no, only for Lethal to run a restart the count here. That is respectable there by the former United States champion. Lethal wants to keep this fight going. He wants to win this one. And it's like he sent Ishii into the barricade telling him to wake up. Because the fight continues back in the ring now. Both these guys squaring up with one another. Both these guys swinging bombs at one another, it would seem. Up and over the top rope. There goes. Oh, what an enziguri from Ishii. I was watching with bated breath to see what would happen there. Lethal sent over the top rope. Ishii coming in with a huge kick in the side of the head. And into the barricade. Sorry, into the apron. Goes Jay Lethal there. Ishii now with control in this match. Hammerstein Ballroom up on their feet as they watch this. And Jay Lethal might be about to be up in the air. Ishii was thinking brainbuster. Great counter from Lethal. And a great exploder as well to capitalize on it. Jay Lethal finds himself in a great position. And this time in the ring. Into that cutter. Watch strength to pull it off on a guy like Ishii. Lethal drags himself up to the top rope right now. Ishii could be in trouble here. Lethal goes for what was either a headbutt or a splash. Ishii moved out of the way. Look at that forearm though. Socked him hard. Didn't take him off his feet. Ishii responds with a hard right there. Chop in the chest. Here goes Ishii now. Flying in. Huge running chop in the head it looked like. Discus forearm again. Just loading bombs at one another right now. The heavy artillery coming out to play in this main event matchup. Cover by Ishii. Is it for victory? No. Kick out at one of all things. Everything that was thrown only gets the kick out at one. Look at that leg caught again. I think Ishii was trying for another brainbuster. And again, Lethal able to find a counter to it. Ducks under the attempted lariat. Lethal sending him up against the ropes. Might he look for the lethal injection? Will he look for the chance to end it? Lethal's in! Lethal injection! He got all of it. Lethal injection on Ishii for victory in this matchup. Oh, Ishii gets the shot up just in time. Lethal can hardly believe it. He thought with the amount of times he's counted the brainbuster, he thought he had the perfect opening to end it, and he didn't. The Stone Pitbull still in this one. Step up Enziguri and Lethal goes down. NXT back-to-back thrilling main events on back-to-back weeks. Raking the eyes there. Ishii taking every matter he can. Leave no stone unturned if it results in victory in this contest. Lethal's head bouncing into the turnbuckle over and over again. Lethal in with the counter. Ishii's head now the one to go into the turnbuckle. This is anyone's matchup right now. Spin out back suplex. Lethal with a big move. Ishii finds another counter. Is there another Bret? Within the Stone Pitbull. For the third time this match, he tackles him down, and it's a very smart decision there. Creates some separation. Good counter from Lethal. Flying forearm, no! Thrown into the mat. Ishii just threw him into the mat. What a sight that was to behold. Lethal gets the counter there. Lethal sweeps the legs, sweeps the legs. Figure four, figure four, figure four leg lock applied. Figure four leg lock stitched in deep. Middle of the ring. Ishii could be in trouble. The Stone Pitbull never want to tap out. But he can't make it to the ropes. Lethal's got this locked in deep. He's got the leverage on Ishii. And Ishii taps out. Ishii submits. Lethal wins in an incredible main event. I've said for weeks on end that Lethal needed to find that edge within him, and he did it. I think he has finally found it once more. Lethal back on top of his game in an incredible main event. A Stone Pitbull not wanting drama, wanting to shake the hand of the man that beat him. That is a great showing of respect. That is what NXT should be all about. That was amazing. We will see you for Living Dangerously on Sunday. Thank you for watching. Take care, guys, and for a great episode of NXT. Tara!